Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole, and today I'm going to be sharing with you uh, my sort of deconstructed bookshelf tour that I'm calling What's on the Shelf or What's on My Shelf. Um, Honestly, I don't remember which one I called it, but it doesn't matter. This is, I think, the third episode that I've done, if you will. I did one featuring my Charles Dickens collection, which you can see some of right here. And then my second one I did on my Drood project and the books that are included in that. So today I am actually going to be going through the handful of books that I have that are all part of the New York Review books. Here they are. This is the stack that I have. And I'm just going to go through all of them that I have. This is by no means all that they have in publication. The New York Review books, according to their website, they have a couple of different series with which they put out under their publication. And one of the series that they have is what they call their New York Review Books Classics. And those just happen to be the ones that I own. I have not intentionally gone and sought these books out. I've just seen different titles or come across books in the store and happened to find these and ended up really liking them. And so now I'm at the point where I want to see the rest of that catalog and start looking at some to maybe start adding, a collection of those to my bookshelf. But not anytime soon, because if you've been watching my other videos, I just started a Read What You Own challenge where I need to get through 30,000 pages before I buy any more books. So these are all that I'm going to have for now. So the New York Book Review Classics are dedicated to publishing an eclectic mix of fiction and nonfiction from different eras, times, and of various sorts. And these will include works that are both in translation, and they try for most of the books to have some sort of introduction. So that's just a little background about how they've put together this collection of books that they're calling classics. I am finding they're like modern classics or postmodern classics, that kind of thing. And they did mention that they're really aiming towards translated works a lot of the time. So I really appreciate that. I feel like there's literally a whole world of literature that I have not read yet just because it hasn't been translated into English or maybe even any other language. But English is the only language I read in. So for at least my purposes, that's the only one that matters. Anyway, I'm getting long. Let's get to the books because I know that's what I'd be watching this video for. All right, the first book I have is the book of Ebenezer LePage. I know this is French or was probably translated from French, and so I'm probably butchering all the French pronunciation of this. I apologize. This is written by J.B. Edwards. My understanding of this book is that it is, I believe, a first-person narrative of Ebenezer, and he is telling his life story. He is at the end of his life. He is on the island of Guernsey, which I know is also not how you say that in French, but we're going to just let all the French pronunciation go, and I hope you'll give me some grace regarding that. Anyway, he lives on this island that's basically in the English Channel between England and France, and he has lived there, I guess, all his life. Now, the back of the book describes him as cantankerous, opinionated, and charming, which is not a mix of words that I would expect to go together. Um, and basically, this book, which isn't terribly long, it's just him recounting, his life story. Basically, he's at the end of his life and he has things that he wants to say, family secrets, scandals that have happened, as well as his thoughts about living on the island, being there through the Great War and the occupation of the island, as well as, in the end of his life having to deal with tourism becoming a major thing and changing the island that he knew and grew up on. I love hearing stories about people from different places, and this just seems like it's that type of book. If like crotchety old men narrators, then this might be a book for you. I know I like anybody really of any age that's kind of snarky. So I decided to go ahead and pick it up, and I'm looking forward to getting to it hopefully sometime in the near future. Next on my list is a book I bought a while ago, and that would be Cassandra at the Wedding by Dorothy Baker. It's a nice short read, which is rare for me, but it just sounded really interesting. Basically, this book is about Cassandra, who is a young lady who is going to attend her twin sister's wedding. And she kind of sounds like she has some grudges and a few other things going on with her sister because her plan is to sabotage the event. I'm looking forward to reading this. I've heard it in general. It's a really good book. Next, and another recent purchase, is Lies and Sorcery by Elsa Morante. So, Lies and Sorcery is basically a generational family saga. I love generational family sagas. It's also a nice chunky book, which is like just adding to it for me. And it takes place on the island of Sicily. So, this book is basically following the lives of three what are called eccentric women, who are all part of the same family, and it's just sort of going through their loves and lives and all the family drama that typically happens. So I'm really interested to see just what these women's lives are like. I feel like often when you follow family sagas, they tend to follow the whole family, or sometimes, depending on the time period, can focus more on the men in the family. I really want to hear about these three women. I love that they're described as eccentric. I want to know why. And I kind of wonder and feel like, is this going to sort of be a Little Women, but on the island of Sicily? I have no reason to think that because Little Women doesn't exactly span three generations, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for, but with like, sort of a Sicily Italian vibe. The back of this book also compares this novel to the works of Tolstoy and Proust, and I find I'm excited about that. I love Tolstoy and I love how he talks about and writes about families and family drama and even to some extent generations, though not necessarily. He tends to stay usually within one generation, though he'll talk about different generations within the family. So I'm really hoping that's true, and I'm looking forward to Lies and Sorcery. Plus, like, I want to know where this sorcery comes in. Next up, I have a book that is on my December TBR list, which is partially why I thought this would be a good month to go over the rest of the books. And this is Life and Fate by Vasily Grossman. Life and Fate, as far as I can tell, one is set in World War II. It focuses, I guess, to some extent on the Battle of Stalingrad. In fact, this is the second book, I believe, in a series, and the first book is Stalingrad. But my understanding is that you don't have, like, they both can work as standalones. So for whatever reason, this happened to be the one that I really heard the most about and was most interested in. I will probably look up Stalingrad just to make sure that I really shouldn't read that one first. But my understanding, and from what I've read of this book, is it kind of sounds like a slightly more modern version of War and Peace. War and Peace took place during the Napoleonic Wars, and like I said, this is World War II. But it also does a combination of like battle scenes mixed and crossed with of the drama that's going on with families at the time. That has me very curious and intrigued, and I'm looking forward to reading more about this. This was also sort of like the epitome of banned books at the time, particularly in Russia. It was considered so controversial. They also confiscated the ribbon that this was typed on, because forbid should you be able to go back and retype it. That's really hardcore. So I want to know what was controversial about this novel. What were they saying? I really want to look more into the banning of it and the reasoning behind that. And that just makes me excited to read this and uber curious. The last book that I have on this list is Temptation. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the name there. I should have looked it up. I'm sorry, I didn't. But Temptation is a Bildungsroman. So I'm really excited. I love that. You can see kind of why I've become more and more fascinated by this publication series, because these are books that I really haven't heard of. I've just started winning bookstores looking for these spines and just reading the books to see if they're interested. I love the fact that they're translated works and that they're also like not well known, at least, in the US where I live. I have never heard of any of these books except for more recently on YouTube, or once I've found the book and then looked it up on YouTube. But they're not books that I feel like, you're hearing mentioned all the time. So what is Temptation about? This book is described as being a Dickensian tale, which Yep, loving that already. Taking place in Budapest. And it's following the life of a young man, Bella, who grows up. He has a very difficult time. He's initially given away, has hardships as he's at school, kind of goes back home. Very strange living situation with his mom and a prostitute. Not his mom, the prostitute, but his mom, and then there's a prostitute. I don't understand how these things are related. He gets involved with some very like sketchy woman who I'm guessing this is representing. And it's just his life growing up in Budapest, going through things as he comes of age and just trying to figure out life and get to the point where I think he's in, basically in control of his own life, because it sounds like everything around him is out of control. And that also includes as Budapest is during the time period that he's living, becoming more and more fascist, and just how he's seeing that take place. And as he's starting to realize that, the people with all the money have all the power, and how where he is, the working class are basically also just the poor class. And there's no moving beyond that. I love a good Bildungsroman. I really am looking forward to just seeing that set in some place that is not that familiar to me. I love the idea of a sort of Dickensian tale, which I can already tell in just the coming of age, the addressing social issues and poverty and looking at class. So yeah, this is saying all sorts of yes to me. So that's my last book. Let me know if you have heard of any of these books, or that now that you've heard of these, if you're interested in them. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.